Hello everybody, welcome to Mortal Fury. I'm Dean.
I'm Chris.
Glad you joined us this week, and we hope you had a good week. Chris and I had a good week. We're coming off show 100. Happy about that. We're happy that we turned the camera on again, and we're going to continue right on.
That's right. 101 coming up.
Yep. Chris, we was talking about being qualified, who's qualified, and qualifications.
Yeah.
Very neat topic.
Yeah.
We was sitting here at the table talking about that, and he said he wanted to read something from our old buddy Vladimir, I believe.
Vladimir Gelesnoff.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
He's going to bring that to us, and
Yeah. This
hope you
week,
enjoy.
this week I was reading something. It was called a compilation, and it had many different authors, and they were talking about a specific subject. And one of them was this Vladimir Gelesnoff. And I read a quote of his, and it just leapt off the page at me. I thought it was really neat. I wanted to share it with you today, and then I have some scriptures to go along with it and see how it fits you, or how it resonates with you. The retrograde tendency of Paul's unfoldings is as remarkable as the proleptic. Before I go any further, as Chris likes to do, I wanted to kind of help with understanding two words, retrograde and proleptic. Retrograde means occurring opposite to the normal direction or flow. And then proleptic means the representation or assumption of a future act or development as if presently existing or accomplished. Okay? So with that in mind, let me go back again and read this quote. The retrograde tendency of Paul's unfoldings is as remarkable as the proleptic. Justification goes back to Abraham in uncircumcision. Reconciliation reverts to Adam. And the secret economy reaches even beyond sin's entrance. Okay, so when I read that and was thinking of that, different scripture was just circling in my head. Like, what scriptures prove these statements that Vladimir is saying here? The very first one, justification goes back to Abraham in uncircumcision. I went to Romans 4:11. And he obtained the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of faith, which was in uncircumcision, for him to be the father of all those who are believing through uncircumcision, for righteousness to be reckoned to them. That's all about Abraham and our connection to Abraham. The second one, reconciliation, reverts to Adam. I went to Romans 5:19, for even as through the disobedience of the one man, the many were constituted sinners, thus also through the obedience of the one, the many shall be constituted just. And then the last one, my favorite one, the secret economy reaches even beyond sin's entrance. We know in Ephesians 1:4, according as he chooses us in him before the disruption of the world, we to be holy and flawless in his sight. When we consider that we were chosen prior to the entrance of sin into the world, that is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it kind of helps explain how we can be holy and flawless in his sight. Not in our sight, in his sight.
Highlights his sovereignty and
right.
highlights God's free will,
right,
not ours.
And then what I thought I'd add was I looked up the bio on Vladimir Gelesnoff. He lived from 1877 to 1921, 43 years. His mother was of an aristocratic British and Italian ancestry. His father was somehow an imperial council, some sort of Russian nobility connected with Tsar Alexander III. This guy graduated from the University of St. Petersburg. He could speak 8 languages and read 21 languages, which I'm lucky if I can read through a comic bit sometimes.
Right.
he was prepared in education to be of diplomatic service, studying languages, history, philosophy, religions of the world, and political sciences. But his greatest interest was in metallurgical chemistry. At the same time, they said that he was very well versed in poetry, music, and painting. He also had a voracious appetite in the study of Scripture, both Hebrew and Greek. Mm-hmm. And so that was definitely a part of who he was. He refused to subscribe to the tenets of Greek Orthodox Church, which at that time resulted in his exile from Russia. Eventually, he landed in New York City to pursue his lifelong career in the scientific research of electrochemistry and practical engineering. He continued his aggressive investigations into Greek and Hebrew, and he gave lectures which were in demand for years afterwards in New York City. And then this was the time early in his life when he was associated with Dr. E.W. Bollinger of London, and many of us know who Bollinger is. He also became a close associate of a Bible teacher named Alan Burns, editor of Grace and Glory, a magazine for which he would also write articles in. And then he moved to Minneapolis and was an instructor at Northwestern Bible School. And around this time, he and A.E. Nock began writing the periodical Unsearchable Riches. Many of our audience know about Unsearchable Riches in the concordant.org site. This was his life. He pursued scriptures with a great deal of passion. He died in 1921. He had a number of critical illnesses that claimed his life when he was 43 years old. An incredible life to just have lived for 43 years. Mm-hmm. He accomplished a great deal, even by today's standards. It blows my mind to think you could speak 8 languages and read in 21 other languages.
Yeah, as you was reading through that list, I'm thinking, well, I speak 1. Don't do that well. Remember when we... friends of ours that come from another part of the country started working with us years back.
Yeah.
And there was almost a different language.
Yeah.
And what I found out was because my grammar and language and the way I speak was so poor, so incorrect, it was hard to even communicate sometimes with other people here in my own country.
Yeah.
My upbringing and where I live and the words we use.
Right.
And that's funny. Yeah, I speak 1 language. I've been on 2 bowling teams.
Yeah. That's high praise.
Yeah, that should be something. I don't know what else. I was trying to think of some things here as you was reading through.
Our qualifications.
Mm-hmm. Qualifications that I might have. Right?
I know. I'm trying to think of some qualifications that I have. I have an LATG.
Oh yeah, I have that too.
Yeah, laboratory animal technologist.
Yeah.
So right there, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Oh, thanks for that, Chris.
And
I feel
it applies across the board for scripture and stuff, right?
Absolutely. It definitely does.
Yeah.
It's good to think about these things. Chris, we want to bring some of this, get you all thinking out there too, as far as people we listen to. We want to, some of our heart on the show is to, get you to look into some of these other writings and other studies and things that you may not be aware of, and check up on them. And like we've always said, don't take our word for it or take their word for it. And we're not doing that
right
either, because you will get to, well, who's really qualified? There's a lot of great scholars out there in all different religions.
Yep. That's a great point that you're making there, that each religion has its scholars, and we can become impressed by them.
We might be getting a call right now.
Yeah, right now. Let's see. Does that mean I can answer it here? Hey, Beth?
Yeah.
You're on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just doing the very stereotypical thing. Would you bring home milk on your way home?
Yeah. What? Low fat or no fat?
Blue lid.
What?
Blue lid.
Blue lid. Blue lid. That's it. Okay.
Hey, Beth.
Hi, Dean.
Blue lid. I like that.
Well, it seems to help with the process.
Yes, I
See,
I get it.
she's pointing out my qualifications right
Now
now.
you got a 50-50 chance if he gets it right. So,
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking there is a light blue and more of a
yeah,
royal
I know it.
blue.
Yeah.
Royal blue. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, bye, y'all.
Bye,
All
hon.
right.
Yeah, you're right. These qualifications that we can get trapped by. We can
Oh, sure.
we can find ourselves wanting to surround ourselves with things we're impressed with,
Mm-hmm.
and then therefore, what are we missing when we're not listening to someone else because we have elevated someone's thinking because of certain qualifications?
Right.
If we look at God and every one he chooses to use in specific ways, did he just use a certain type of person? I don't think I even have to answer that.
Right.
So maybe we'll go there a little bit more in the next couple of shows,
Yeah, I'd like
talking
that.
about qualifications.
I see. And knowing that it comes from God, and real truth comes from Him, and that comes in many different ways, through many different people or many different forms. There's not one set or one group of people
Right.
or something that you're going to maybe get God's truth from. And I certainly, looking back, the way my journey and the things that I learned and the things that I initially learned were from people that maybe some today would say, well, they're not qualified
Mm-hmm.
to be speaking on behalf of God. So,
Right.
things like
Yeah.
that. So who really is, right? So it's, our heart here is that it's all of God, and God works through you and through the people He chooses in His own timing. So hopefully we can do some shows on that. Hopefully to
Yeah.
encourage that you don't have to have the qualifications of Vladimir to know what he ended up coming to know in search of these scriptures. God's truth and His love and His peace, and that He provides. And that He's going to provide to all people
Right.
eventually.
Right. And that encouragement that all of our knowledge that is given is God directed, and it is He who will choose
Mm-hmm.
individuals to reveal things through.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not the way we might do it, it's the way God, and that's what he was just saying. I think we really appreciate Romans 11:33-36. All is out of God, through God, and to God. That's how we see all of that, and we try not to confine ourselves with specific expectations of who we're reading or who we're looking to when we're sharing about Scripture.
Right.
So hopefully you guys are probably already doing that, and obviously many of you out there know exactly what we're talking about. So that's all I have,
right.
Dino.
Thanks for bringing Vladimir here to the show.
I know he's.
I don't know if we mentioned him, but there's some good stuff out there, Brian.
Yeah, he's got a quote out there, and I'm probably going to mess it up, that I've loved. I've shared with you. We may have shared it on the show. Something about the antiquity of a belief is no validity of its truthfulness, or something along those lines.
That. Right.
That's a neat
Mm-hmm.
quote, I think. I may have it wrong. You may have to look that up or something. But he's a pretty interesting character. So
I bet he went on a bowling team, though.
he probably didn't bowl. He probably did. But he missed out. That would have been nice to have seen that in the qualifications there. Bold on Seek and Destroy team. Yeah. So we are in first place.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us again, and we will continue on next week.
That's right. Take care. Have a great week.